Um, what's going on, guys? Lotus What Ifs here, back with a new video. Yes, I'm making a new series. Why am I making a new series? Well, to be honest, replacements for all the other what ifs I've deleted. Yeah. You thought the other ones were for the replacements? No, those weren't the replacements. Yeah, I just felt like doing those. Quite honestly, I didn't need to do them. I just felt like doing them. This is actually the first replacement I'm doing. And I think that one is for what if deck was abandoned, right? Yeah, it is. So, yeah, this is a replacement, not a redo. I already did the redo for what if deck was abandoned, so, yeah. So, where should we start off? I think the name should be Infinite Potential, I don't know. It depends on how I'm feeling. I'm not in the best moods, but I'm not in the worst. Really, I really shouldn't be saying that because I'm never in the best or the worst mood. So, yeah. So, this is real simple. It's kind of the leveling system, but not. I'll explain it to you. So, there's a change to the My Hero Academia world. There's a level thing. There's a leveling thing. But you start off at level, 0, obviously. And, depending on what your quirk is, depends on how high your level will be. Now, your max level will be. Now, the max level is not how strong you'll be. No, it predicts how strong. No, it will predict how what level you'll be by the time you actually have full control over your quirk. So, yeah. For example, All Might, 10,000, All for One. Quite honestly, All for One is at 0. All right, All for One's level is 0 to 0. Why? Because he has no control over All for One. It's actually the quirk that's taking care over him. If you didn't know, yeah, the quirk influences the user. If you didn't know that, so All for One is either controlling All for One, or he's just been corrupted. So, yeah. So people like Aizawa are like at level 100. Yeah. People like Endeavor, it's kind of like 1000. Shoto, around 5000. And yeah, Bakugo, he's gonna have one for all. Originally, if it was with explosions, it would be at least, I'd say, 1000. But with one for all now, it's gonna be 100. It's gonna be 21,000. Yeah, it's kind of how it is. So, yeah. Deku's is infinite. Now, it's not the infinite sign, no, it's just, with a bunch of zeros. Legitimately. The max number that the leveling thing can show is 100 million. So, Deku, they're gonna think he has 0 potential. So, yeah, let's get started. So, everything goes as normal as canon and stuff like that. Deku and Bakugo are friends and shit like that until like the age of 4, where Deku goes to the quirk doctor to see if he has a quirk. Now this one I'm not making Inko an asshole. Of course not. I'm never making Inko an asshole. Alright, if I make Inko an asshole, that's just for plot convenience or, I just feel like shit. Alright, I feel like shit and I want somebody to suffer and I let it out on my what ifs. But most of the time it's plot convenience. So, yeah. So, yeah, they go to the quirk doctor. Inko finds out Deku is quirkless, and she's sad for Deku. Deku's kind of like depressed and stuff like that. Now the doctor wanted to make a joke. Yeah, he wanted to make a joke at this time. I know, right? Such an asshole of a doctor. So, yeah, I swear if that was my kid, I would have punched the shit out the doctor the moment he said that. So, yeah, the doctor said, how about we evaluate what level he'll be? he says that as a joke, but Inko, she obliges and says, okay. She thought it was a test. As the doctor, he was surprised that she said yes and thought she was stupid, alright? So he kind of just said, alright. Now on his way back, he was chuckling until he got to the back and told the doctors what happened. The doctors were laughing. Now Inko heard laughing and, well, they thought that they were just telling a joke. They didn't know they were laughing at Izuku. Until they come out with the testing, which, it's kind of like an orb that projects the number. Yeah. It's kind of like an orb that projects the number. As basically, the number is projected. Remember, the only number they can see is up to 100 or is up to 999,999,999, which means 999,999,999. So yeah, that's the highest number they can go up to. But when Deku puts his hand on it, all they see is 0, 0, million, 0, 0, 0, 0. Yeah, that should not be a thing. All right, if I say if you heard that, don't quote me on that. That's don't ever. That's not a number. All right. I just want you to imagine it. Good. All right. So yeah, that's kind of it. As the doctor, he's trying to hold in his laughter, cause he expected as much and stuff like that. But what he didn't know is that Deku actually had, well, infinite of potential. It's just that there are infinite zeros. Oh, hold on. That was my school. It said I failed. Psychology. Yeah, I didn't fail. So, how do I explain? Or, yeah, where was I? Yes, that's where I was. It's basically, yeah, like I was explaining, Deku has many zeros. It doesn't show, like, the actual infinite sign. No. It's one with infinites of zeros. Legitimately. So, it's kind of how it worked. Now, Inko wasn't feeling sad or mad by this. Well, she was kind of feeling a little frustrated by this since, well, it kind of hurt. She saw how her son felt, and he was horrified, as if he's seen a ghost. So it kind of hurt her a little bit. But, you know, Mama Inko always slays the beast known as sadness and depression. Literally. So, basically, Deku, he proceeds to go home with Inko. Sad as hell. Really sad. As this time, Inko actually tells Deku that he can get stronger. So, Inko tells him that he can get stronger with basic, like, training. Not as strong as to be a hero, but still, he can be a hero in some other ways, such as, well, firefighter, police officer, stuff like that. But she says it's always good to have dreams. Maybe you will become a hero. Who knows? As Deku, he's actually happy by this, and he starts doing regular training. Deku does, well, regular training, such as, well, physical training and stuff like that, and shit like that. So Deku does physical training, and his number is infinite. So it's not really counting how good he'll be able to actually, well, control his, well, strength. No. It's counting how strong his potential is, how big his potential is, and if he'll ever have a limit. He doesn't have a limit. He's boundless, just like my boy Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong is one of my favorite gods, so you'll be hearing a lot about him if I ever talk about gods. Of course, I don't believe he's real, but still, if he was, it'd be interesting. I still like him, but still, it's only like, not love. Surprisingly, I'm not sick no more. Alright, but anyways, yeah. So Deku's training and stuff like that, getting stronger. As a matter of fact, a month later, he dropped out of school. Legitimately. He dropped out of school. And Inko was wondering why, because, well, he brought it up to Inko first, and Inko said why, and Deku explained how he was getting bullied by Bakugo and shit like that, so yeah. But anyways, anytime Deku is actually out for a jog, like, he doesn't stray far from home. He's not jogging, like, far away from home, but anytime he's trying to get a jog, and Bakugo and his friends would, well, fight Deku. No, not fight, but hurt Deku. Which is kind of a bad thing for Bakugo, because they're bringing up his resistance. Just one more point, right? Another tally, another level. So they beat up Deku and stuff like that, and they use their quirks, building up his resistance. To the point where Deku is resistant to their quirks. As a matter of fact, to them, his skin is kind of like diamond, but we know damn well his skin is not like diamond, because if he were into contact with a real diamond, Deku would get hurt. So, yeah, that's kind of how it works. So Deku, he trains and trains and trains and trains. I should bring it to this. Yes, this seems more appropriate. Yeah, this seems more appropriate. So, he trains. Just does the basic training. He does it with weights as well. Deku, he's not buff as a child and stuff like that. I'm not trying to make fun of midgets. Alright, but like for this one, he's not like as buff as you'd see a midget if they work out. I'm not trying to make fun of midgets, remember that. Sure, I said the most ridiculous question when I was younger. As a matter of fact, that brings back memories. I felt real disrespectful about it now. But anyways, yeah, if you would like to know what that question was, when I first saw a midget, like for the first time. See, I was a kid that never went outside. Alright, I didn't go outside often. If I did go outside, I wouldn't go anywhere that's not near my house. So, hold on. So yeah, first time I saw a midget, the first question that came to mind, I was working with my dad. I was in summer camp, right? Yeah, I had after school, so I had to go to summer camp. And I asked my dad, why is that kid walking in the street? And then my dad told me that was a midget. And I didn't know what midget meant at that time. So, what I asked him is probably gonna piss off every midget in my comments. Legitimately, like every midget in my comments and possibly society itself. I asked, why is he so short? Like, my dad reassured me that's an adult, and I asked, why is she? Not he, she, because it was a girl at that time. I remember it very vividly, real disrespectful. As my dad covered my mouth and said, don't say that out loud. Because at that time, I wouldn't say I yelled, no, but I said it really loudly. To the point where people in probably like a 2 to 3 foot radius of me could actually hear me say it. So, yeah. But luckily, there wasn't nobody in a 2 or 3 foot radius of me, which is good, other than my father. So, yeah, let's continue. So, basically, Deku, he's strong. He's strong and independent at this current moment in time. Deku, he learned a lot of things. Real lot of things. He learned a lot of things. So, Deku, he teaches himself. Really, he teaches himself. Deku teaches himself how to fight and many more. Sure, he watches some videos on combat abilities and stuff like that. Deku practices those combat. Practically everything you'd see on the internet, Deku practically tried to memorize. So any chance Deku got to actually go on the computer when he's actually not studying or trying to memorize or remember something or anything like that, Deku, he's trying to memorize everything on the internet. When I said everything, I meant everything. Deku would just he wouldn't even like search up something random, no. He wouldn't search up anything, he'd just click on the first tab he sees or anything like that. To the point where this man learned how to hack. One of the first things he learned was actually hacking. So, Deku, he was interested in hacking, so he learned how to hack, he hacked games. He never hacked anything like banks or anything, but he did hack the city surveillance once or twice. Psycholite, he hacked it multiple times. Why? Because he wanted a view of the world. Yeah. As a matter of fact, he was the first person to actually hack NASA to use a satellite. He hacked NASA to use a satellite to see around the world. Not every satellite, because there's many satellites around the world. Which NASA was furious about this, and they tried to get into contact where the signal was coming from. But Deku, he quickly dipped off when he noticed that they were trying to, well, find him. So, yeah, to the point where Deku actually started to create his own hacking style, fighting style, combat style, basically. Kind of like the shadow combat that T'Challa made. It's not the same or anything like that. No, Deku made one called Infinite Combat. Why? Because Deku, the running he does is not just for speed. No, it's for stamina. Deku does things for stamina mostly. Actually, the only thing he does is things that are for stamina. And Deku has, well, done things to breathe out of his nose, so he, not nose, to breathe from his stomach to be more relaxed. Now, that fact was really useful to him since he was able to actually do his exercises more efficiently. To the point where Deku's stamina was so great that Deku didn't even have anything that could actually stop him from, well, doing anything. See, yeah. And this did not happen in 1 year, calm down. This happened in 5. Alright, Deku's 10 at this time. This happened in 5 years. There's many other things that Deku done. Deku memorized a lot of things. Deku knows what sex is. As a matter of fact, he went to Inko and asked her if she could teach him what, sex is like. But Inko refused. She refused. She refused to do it. Yeah, she refused to do it. Why? Because, look, I'm cool with incest, alright? I'll be honest with you. I'm cool with incest. I'm cool with incest, brothers and sisters having a relationship, step bro, step sis. I don't care about it, alright? Your life is your life. Like I always say, I don't interfere with somebody else's life. Such is life. Alrighty then? My motto every day. Alright? Like I say to you guys, everything in existence, everything you could ever think of, anything that comes in our minds, our bodies, is nothing unless we make it something. So the person that came up with incest obviously knew in their own minds that there were some benefits to it. He also considered the bad things about it. Alright? He knew the pros, he knew the cons. So if that person knew the pros and the cons, obviously they wouldn't do it, right? Obviously it must be that the pros are better than the cons. Because I don't really see anything bad with dating your sibling, apart from the fact that they're your sibling and the child could possibly not turn out how you want it to. But still, there was a point in time where, well, humans started to date their fellow man. For example, Adam and Eve. What do you think that was? You thought it was just two random people meeting and having sex? No. Yet it was actually incest, since, well, they came from the same person. Same place, same person. Their mother was sand, their father was God. So I'd count it as incest. If the first human were doing incest shit, what's bad with us? Hold on. So yeah, I don't really find there to be a problem with incest. It's just that, well, I'm not gonna put it in my videos. You'll find it with step siblings, yeah, in my videos, but not actual siblings. So yeah, that's kind of how it worked. So Deku, the age of 10, he's practically a prodigy. He's a combat prodigy and stuff like that. Now, the only thing that Deku doesn't know how to do is, well, use a gun. Nigga knows how to modify it. He's kind of like Taskmaster, remembers anything that, well, he sees. But Deku's memory is so, well, widespread that he doesn't even need to think for a second just to remember something. The moment Deku sees something that is familiar to him, he automatically remembers it and proceeds to do what he wants to do with it, to the point where Deku, if he wanted to, and if he got a gun, he'd modify the gun so much that the gun would actually turn into possibly an air shooter, like legitimately shoots air out of it. And that's actually gonna happen, but it's gonna take a while for Deku to do that. So Deku, he proceeds to go to Inko, bringing up the idea of going to the army. Now Deku, he ain't no pussy. Now there's gonna be a lot of times where Deku was gonna get raped by a lot of the girls in the army. Yeah, so Inko, yeah, let me just say this now. Inko, she explained like stuff like, oh, but the army is a dangerous place. You could die. I don't want to lose you, my baby. But Deku, he did his best and he succeeded in swaying her crew to let him go to the army. As he persuaded her by showing her his abilities in combat and stuff like that. So she has hope in Izuku in some sort of way. Now Izuku goes to the army. Now in the army you can't use your quirks obviously. As basically in the army the first thing they asked him was what's his quirk? Because the only quirk they actually allow is well healing quirks. Healing quirks, quirks to up your stamina and stuff like that. Quirks to up your damage, no. But quirks to up your stamina, definitely. As Deku says he's quirkless as well. Most of the army men start laughing at him and stuff like that because, well, most of them have quirks, but still. The general says, alright, shut up and stuff like that. So they go to do basic training. They do training with many different things. Weapons, armor, and stuff like that. And so, Deku, he had to train holding his breath. And I mean for a long time. Long time. Like the longest a person has held their breath is I think like 2 minutes something. But Deku, if he wanted to, he can hold his breath for at least an hour. I don't know how people in anime be doing that shit, but like then again, them niggas be practically gods and just built different. But we don't care about that, do we now? I mean shit, look at my boy Saitama. Saitama, I don't even think this nigga practices for holding his breath. Nigga, Saitama just got on the moon. I swear, the moment I got on that moon, I would have inhaled and killed myself. Like, there would be nothing stopping me. Nah, the moment I get out the atmosphere, I'm frozen to death. What the hell? But anyways, yeah. So Deku can hold his breath for an hour, but he plans to train it even more since, well, there's many other types of places that he's gonna go. Sure, there's the army, he's gonna go to the navy, and many more. Actually, did you know that there's a military for space? Yeah, there is. Interesting, right? And I don't know why there would be one, but there is one. Like, where are you gonna fight? The moon? Like, where are you gonna fight in space? I don't really find that there to be a reason to fight in space, unless you feel like aliens are real. I mean, like, I wouldn't call them aliens, cause shit, in their place, they might as well be called humans as well. So technically, I guess we're being racist, but not at the same time, cause they're considered human just as much as we're considered human. To them, we may be aliens as well. So we should probably stop being racist. Or I should just stop thinking ahead of time. Yeah, I think ahead of time too much. I should stop that. But anyways, yeah. So Deku, he proceeds to go to the army and he trains and shit like that. He trains in firing a gun. Now Deku, the rebounds were strong for him at the beginning, but the rebounds made him stronger. At this current moment in time, Deku, he's only at level, well, 10,000. Why did I say 10,000? Because Deku is excessive with his training. Deku doesn't go to sleep. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks later after joining, he actually almost got raped by two girls. As basically, Deku wasn't having it. The roles were then reversed to not them raping Deku, but no, not really Deku raping them, but Deku asserting dominance. He made them his bitches. Legitimately. So, I don't know, man. Kinda how it works. Now, one thing is, Deku actually beat the general in close combat quarters. As a matter of fact, this man practically has aimbot with a gun as well. So they can't really have Deku training with anyone. Deku trains by himself, but even when he trains by himself, he can't train near things that are solid. Why? Because if he does, Deku actually once punched a tree and he actually made a hole through it. So he has to train by himself in a field where he can't punch anything solid. But they didn't know that just him punching the air is practically equivalent to him punching the living crap out of existence itself. Like, legitimately. So, Cause, oh shit, I caught that fly like a bitch. I'm not letting go of it. Yeah, that nigga, he's still in my hand. Alright, but anyways, yeah. So Deku, he proceeds to just punch, kick, and stuff like that to the point where Deku, he then created his own fighting style. Deku wasn't fighting like a normal human being at this point. Deku himself has become the weapon that the person uses. As a matter of fact, the next time he actually fought with the general, he didn't come to a close tie with the general or just barely beating him like he did the first time. No, he completely whooped the living crap out of the general to the point where the general might as well be dead. The first 10 moves that Deku did could have nearly killed him. Matter of fact, Deku mostly dodged until he decided to take his first move. First move he did was grab his head and literally throw him on the floor, nearly cracking his skull, which everybody was scared of. So Deku could have got promoted to general any time, but he wasn't. I'm gonna go wash my hands. I just killed the fly that I had in my hand. Alrighty then, after washing my hand. Yes, I naturally catch flies if I see one. Is there a problem? So yeah, Deku could have been promoted to general, but Deku denied it every time. Why? Because he didn't want to. As a matter of fact, Deku despised being the general. And they asked him why, and Deku says the general just gives lead. He doesn't actually fight. So Deku's actually pissed by this. To the point where when Deku is at the age of 10, no, not 10, 15, Deku was known as the young god of the battlefield. Deku joined every form of military in those years. As a matter of fact, Deku, he didn't switch between them. No, he legit fought on all of them, on each one of them. In the air, underwater, Marine Force, Navy, Air Force. Like shit, Deku fought on all of them until the age of, 16. Deku says he's going to, space. And Deku trained himself so he can hold his breath for at least a few years. So that he can go to space. So Deku, he goes. Like legitimately, he goes to space and he trains there. Deku, he went on the moon to do that. Because people have quirks, obviously. As a matter of fact, I think they should probably be able to go to Mars. Yeah, they should be able to go to Mars. So, they sent Deku to Mars. Deku goes to Mars, which was a bad thing. Because Deku trained and trained and trained and trained. If you didn't know, your strength is amplified like 10 times on Mars. Yeah, bad things for everyone around Deku. Deku trained how to fight in many things. Deku took a lot of things with him. He took a gun, he took swords, he took many types of blades. Trained all of them. And at the age of 20, Deku, no, not the age of 20, the age of 18, Deku said, well, fuck Mars, I'm just going to dip onto the next planets. To the point where Deku, he reaches, Saturn. Deku, immediately when he reached Saturn, the moment he heard, the sound that's emitted from Saturn, Deku is kind of frightened, but yet eccentric. He's excited. Because he thinks that there might be some dangerous thing inside Saturn. But it's not. But Deku, he slowly started to realize that he's freezing from the bottom up, since his feet is on one of the rocks that are on the ring. And the ring is really cold. As Deku said, fuck, as he proceeded to say, shit, I guess I'm gonna train on here for now. And as Deku proceeds to just try to do training, like he's hopping first, but gradually Deku starts running. Now, we skip to Earth, where they lost signal of Deku, like legitimately. And they thought that he's dead, but they went to Mars and they saw no trace of Deku, except for ominous footprints. Real ominous footprints. The only trace of Deku's footprints. like the only. And that trait, and that only trail was cracks formed by his foot, his bare feet on that planet. Alright? His bare feet, which surprised them because the only thing they saw left was the shoes next to those cracks formed by his bare feet. Deku, if he wanted to, he could have grabbed Mars by his feet and pushed up a little. And I mean a little. Like, if he jumped while grabbing it, he could have pulled up a whole meteor, like tiny meteor. Not as big as a regular tiny meteor, but at least one that could possibly do damage to a local convenience store or two. So that kind of surprised him, seeing how big the crack was. So Deku, he's still running. He's running and running until he possibly got faster. Deku, he now sees the rings as a track, bigger than the ones on Earth. Deku now thinks, I have to control my turns now. As he controls his turns and he starts speeding up. Around this time, Deku, he has, well, gotten to the point where, well, he's at level 1 million. He can control his strength and many more as Deku proceeds to go to, well, Jupiter. Not just anywhere, that red dot. As Deku just stays in that sandstorm. Like, legitimately, he approaches it, he goes near it, and Deku closes his eyes, and he jumps into it. Normally, I'd call that a stupid ass move, but the way I'm making Deku, he doesn't have to worry about it, since now he has really good resistance. He's resistant to the cold, he's not that resistant to the hot, to heat, because, well, to do that, he'd have to go to the sun, and if he did, he'd die immediately. He has somewhat of a resistance to heat due to Bakugo's quirk. He's resistant to explosions, because there have been many bombs that Deku have survived, and there was a time where Deku was actually on a boat alone, and they actually fucking nuked him, and that was the first time he felt a nuclear bomb. Now Deku, he gains a physical resistance. He gained a physical resistance to things like metal, like he's practically immune to metal and diamonds and stuff like that, but the nuclear waste and acid inside the nuclear bomb, it burnt him. It burnt him a lot. So yeah, he has a good resistance to, well, heat. As Deku, he proceeds to, well, just float around, just keep spinning inside of the tornado type thing. And it's a really big one. So Deku's getting hit by a lot of things. He's getting hit by rocks, many more. And the rocks are breaking on Deku. Legitimately. Deku's bones don't break. The rocks break on Deku's body. So, yeah. As Deku, he's strong. Real strong, as a matter of fact. To the point where Deku has gained so much of his physical resistance that he starts training inside of it. He starts doing push-ups in midair. Somehow. And they're like, what? Is Deku? That's because of his core. His core is so strong that it gives him the ability to, well, do it for a long time. And take in mind, while it's doing this, Deku has been holding his breath. Now Deku can hold his breath for almost 1,000,000 years. Now Deku, he just trains and trains and trains and trains. Deku is no longer level 1 million, he's level 1 billion. As Deku, he's a catastrophe. He's a catastrophe. He's a catastrophe. Really catastrophic. As Deku, he just trains in there until Deku, he's finally strong enough to actually get out of it. And to get out of it, he makes a really big wind pressure around himself. Kind of like a ring of wind pressure. And completely destroys the storm. Like the whole sandstorm destroyed. Like there is no such trace of it. As Deku proceeds to train on Jupiter, as he's just rounding about on Jupiter, just running around it. To the point where this man Deku is so fast that, well, he might as well just destroy the planet, because He's run rounds around the planet so many times that if he went faster, if he went a little faster, heat would start surrounding and he'd turn Jupiter into not sand but glass. The whole place would be glass. And then he would melt that glass. Then proceed to run faster, then melt it some more, to the point where it would start evaporating into the atmosphere, which is bad. Oh, and Deku takes fun in playing on, well, the moons of Jupiter. All 50 of them. He hops, runs, skips from one of them to another. Matter of fact, Deku has trained yelling, but he didn't want to yell. He's strong enough to yell from Jupiter to the moon, but he said, "Fuck it, I'm not yelling to Earth or anything like that." He doesn't feel like it. So they're still searching for Izuku. Inko heard about Izuku's disappearance. She thought that he was dead or some shit like that, and she was just crying. But yeah, that's kind of how it worked. Mitsuki went to see Inko because that's her friend and stuff, and she reassured Inko that he's probably just doing something, and he's too busy to do it because she knows Deku is a prodigy. She never told Katsuki. Why? Because Deku never really cared about Katsuki. So yeah. So Deku, he trains and trains and trains. At the age of 19, Deku, he is about to leave Pluto. Deku, he is now level 999,999,999,999. And it's basically, he's about to leave Pluto, doesn't know where he's going. He just feels like it. So Deku, there's a meteor coming. Deku, he catches the meteor, well, after jumping off of Pluto, and that is. He catches it as he proceeds to throw it and jump on it to fly. Now, Deku, while flying, it's a lot of wind pressure, so he's getting used to the wind pressure. As basically, Deku, he says, "Well, shit." As Deku, the reason he said, "Well, shit," was because he was heading to a black hole. He was heading to a black hole. Now, when he went inside that black hole, Izuku was sucked up. Nothing special happened, like him punching it and destroying it. No, he was legitimately sucked into that black hole, just turned into silly string. As Deku's body, molecules, many more atoms and stuff like that are just scattered around inside the black hole. As each one of Deku's fiber being and stuff like that, like all of them, they're not even together anymore. Like the only reason why Deku is probably still alive is that a few of his atoms are still working intact, like the one for his brain and his eyes and his mouth. And like any other atoms, like his organs, yeah, and stuff like that, but still, anything else? No. Not felt. His bones, stuff like that, not felt at all. So, the only reason Deku is still alive and not dead is because of his resistance. So, Deku, in that portal or black hole, yeah, that black hole is actually a portal. In that portal, it's actually a gateway to a different world. Now, Deku, for that portal, it's kind of real bad. Now, there are things inside this universe called constellations. Constellations, yeah, I got this idea from a lot of things I watch, but like the thing is, they're not watching it as a game. They just watch over humans. If they want to, they'll give humans their blessing, but that doesn't happen much. So, yeah. So Deku, he's just floating around and stuff like that. And there was, well, a few gods who took interest in Deku, to the point where they wanted to give Deku his blessing and make them his servant. But Deku said, fuck no. Why? Because Deku knows that, well, he's a prodigy. Why the hell should he take gifts from others? There's gonna be a time where this man actually beats the living crap out of them, which they found him arrogant and they tried to smite him. By smite, they made it worse for him inside that black hole. They put calamities inside of those black holes. They put calamities. They put different beings. They put demons, God, many more inside of that black hole to make it so much harder for Deku. So much harder. To the point where they even made the black hole much stronger. The black hole is at least 1 billion times stronger than it normally was. Not like the outside or the suction ability, no, like the inside, how destructive it is. Everything inside is destructive at least 1 billion times, which is really annoying to Deku and really, 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 really hard. Until, like, the time in there is much differently. It's kind of like eternities for Deku, right? So, like, every day is an eternity for Deku, so they can make him suffer even more. And Deku really, 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 really hates it. Really hates it. Deku's gonna be going back to the My Hero verse at the age of 20, but still. So, yeah. Deku after just a few months. Like, what age is Deku at? No. Skip back. Deku is 18. Yeah, he's 18. All this happened when he was in 17. Like 17 to 18. He's 17 and a half right now. He's 18 right now. And Deku, he's really getting pissed off. His Deku, his resistance, his body strength, speed, and stuff like that are all of them separately are at least 100 quintillion levels. So, yeah. And Deku has infinites of atoms inside his body. So, Deku's strength is now infinite. As Deku, he dips out. No, not dips out. He actually he forces his body. He forcibly pulls his body towards him. Like, each part, each atom, he didn't miss a single one. If he found a trace of his body inside that portal, he pulls it towards him to the point where he's finally able to actually get his own self back together. As he proceeds to say, now that I'm back, when I find you goddamn constellations, I'm beating the living shit out of you and destroying your planet. Or any world that you have. As Deku proceeds to beat the calamities, the living beings, the gods inside of that place, while also eating their flesh, gaining many types of resistance, poison resistance, lightning resistance, and many more. As Deku says, I never knew that this actually worked. As Deku proceeds to just walk, well, not walk, but float, to an unknown destination. Yes, the constellations are not scared because they don't think that Deku can get to them. But, yeah. So Deku goes to this other world. This Deku, well, he enlists in that army because he finds it interesting. And he trained to control his powers for, at least 2 months. And Deku goes, he enlists for the army. He became an adventurer, stuff like that. Any combat-based thing, he beat. They tried to rape him. He became big body. He reversed the roles. He became daddy. So, yeah. Deku didn't have any kids, don't worry. He pulled out. He has a strong pull-out game. Yeah, my boy Deku strong. That's basically, yeah. So, that's kind of how it works. Now, Deku, after that's done, Deku's currently 19. As Deku says, shit, I spent too long on this world. Okay, I guess I'll go. As Deku, he goes to many different planets, many different verses, MCU or anything like that. No, just universes, galaxies, multiverse, omniverses, and stuff like that. Just so he could find those constellations, which is when he finally realizes them bitches are not inside the omniverse. As he proceeds to get out of the omniverse. Over his time, he's learned many things, different combat styles, different types of equipment, stuff like that, and this was his first uniform. His first. Alright, his first combat gear when he went to that other world. as Deku proceeds to go. And Deku has let his hair grow out, actually. He let his hair grow, and over time, his hair slowly turned from, well, green to black. Because he learned about cultivation, using his life force in many different ways and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, Deku, in general, Deku, he combined everything. Every time of aura and stuff like that. Hold on. Alright, I'm back. As I was saying, Deku, he combined all of them. Combined all of them into one thing. And it just became life energy usage. Now, Deku, over time, he has been stealing the life energy of other things. He has learned many techniques to steal not only their cultivation, their auras, and many more, but Deku started to steal life force, life energy, their luck, their demise, their bad luck. As a matter of fact, Deku has stolen so much luck and bad luck that they fused into just, well, luck. Heavens defying luck. It defies the gods himself. This man became so lucky that he gets bad luck, and the bad luck doesn't just hurt the people around him. No, it starts hurting him as well. And he did that on purpose. And he still, to this day, continues to steal luck. But he's able to suppress his luck. As Deku, he gained enlightenment. Because, well, he finally acknowledged himself as an existence in this world. He never acknowledged himself as anything. He never acknowledged himself to begin with. So when he finally did it, he, well, gained enlightenment, and he was immediately sucked into his mindscape, where he saw a number really big. He saw an infinity, and then a dash, and then 1 and many, many zeros. As Deku, he sees them as, Deku says, what the hell is this number? Then the number on the bottom combines and makes an infinity sign. As Deku says, and what's this infinity over infinity mean? As Deku, he looks up, and Deku sees something that shocks him to the core, but also pisses him off at the same time. As Deku sees the word level, and that pisses him off because when it said his level, it was zeros. 9 goddamn zeros, which pisses him off to the point where the number itself starts to get fearful as Deku proceeds to walk to his level and proceeds to suck his level up as well. As Deku, he learned from many gods, Sun Wukong and stuff like that. He actually went to a universe just to learn from Buddha. He learned from a universe where Sun Wukong and Buddha are actually pretty cool with each other. Not legitimately like all fights and shit like that. Like they fight sometimes, but they're at least friends and stuff like that. He fought the Jade Emperor, Wukong. He beat all those guys, and quite honestly, I'm not saying that's an understatement. No, that's kind of like the biggest flex of all time. I'm gonna be honest with you. That shit is the biggest flex, especially to beat Sun Wukong. Since Sun Wukong has an ability that allows him to be, well, stronger than you many times. And Deku, and to have the ability to actually beat Sun Wukong, who you have to actually kill Sun Wukong 72 times. If you know where that 72 came from, I legitimately forgot, and I was just listening about it too on TikTok. Like, Sun Wukong is one of my favorite gods, which means I know a lot about him, and plus I like a lot of mythology. So, yeah, so basically, to beat Sun Wukong is kind of like an overstatement. It's a big flex. He's beat every version of Sun Wukong, even the versions of Sun Wukong that have been traveling for decades around existences, which kind of relegates the fact of, well, being the strongest god in Deku's case, since Deku beat the living crap out of him. Not just a little bit, no, he mercilessly beat him, because Sun Wukong has exactly, I think I guess 3,000 or 4,000, 30,000 hairs. Yeah, he has 30,000 hairs on his body. So every clone that Deku made, no, Deku, he sucked up the life force, the energy of every clone. So Deku, he's practically immortal. And killing Sun Wukong was probably the most dangerous thing. Deku hurt Sun Wukong to the point where Sun Wukong only had one life left. To be able to actually kill an immortal is just the biggest flex, and especially if it's Sun Wukong. Because Sun Wukong has 72 lives and he's immortal. So to be able to kill him 71 times, to kill him 71 times to the brink of death is immaculate. It's just immaculate. As Deku reversed time on him, obviously, to give him back those 72 lives. As he proceeds on with his day, Deku just travels many multiverses, universes, and stuff like that until he finally found where the constellations were. Not just the constellations, he found many other things that surprised him. He found their equipment and many more. As Deku, the first place he went was to the gods of death, eradicating almost every one of them and stealing their treasures, which means each one of them have a specific thing. Each one of them have chains of death. He's went to hell, the underworld, many netherrealm, many times and killed those gods. And he's legitimately taken the chains of death. And you may be thinking, shit, if he took the chains of death, the demons should be free. No, he killed all the demons. He killed the demons, stealing their abilities, their powers, and shit like that, their heights too, which was kind of fearful to niggas like Lucifer and the Seven Deadly Sins. Lucifer, of course, is a part of the Seven Deadly Sins. He's pride, which kind of made them fearful, shocked, and, well, just petrified them. Because Deku, not only did he kill the gods, he eradicated a whole plane of existence by himself without a care in the world. That's how pissed off Deku was about the whole thing, because during this time he was just pissed off, and he's just 19 years old. And by the time Deku actually calmed the fuck down, that's actually when he's finally up against the strongest and most powerful god, after strongest constellation, after he legitimately killed them. Now the angelic constellations such as Euro and the other archangels, Deku didn't kill them. He just sent them off to God. He told them to tell God that he's gonna be meeting him one of these days and probably beating the shit out of him, but not killing him. Why? Because he has a lot of respect for God. He loves God. Alright? So, yeah. Deku, he killed the constellation, took their abilities. He took their death chains abilities to the point where he started making death chains himself. Not chains, but at least shackles. Death shackles. Shackle on his arms, his legs, and his neck, but they're not visible since, well, they're mostly made out of, well, his life energy. He has infinite of that, and there is no limit to how much he can use them. He killed life itself, creation, destruction. He killed the living embodiments of many gods, many elements, many more. He even killed the embodiment of, well, many and many, many, many existences, to the point where Deku himself actually came into contact with a 100-dimensional being. I don't even know if that's a thing. If it is a thing, that's kind of bad, as he killed them. If he's able to do that, he's a 101-dimensional being, or even higher. And Deku is actually an infinite dimensional being, because he killed infinity itself. And the embodiment of infinity, he killed it. The embodiment of infinity was legitimately an infinite dimensional being. And to actually have Deku able to kill him is worse, because not only did he kill him brutally. Because Deku killed, revived him multiple times, practically infinites of times. And to this day, he still has a clone or two just beating the shit and killing him multiple times. As Deku has clones on all those he's killed, just taking them. And every time a demon is put into hell and stuff like that, Deku's clone is there just killing it. Deku himself is now a menace to all the gods itself. Deku has went to Purgatory Mountain many more times than most, which is kind of fearful, as Deku beat the living crap out of, well, the strongest god. He was not the strongest, but the second strongest. As then he proceeded to go to, well, God, and he beat God after making a whole rampage in the world of angels, or heaven, legitimately slaughtering the angels and then slaughtering God, which was the embodiment of holiness and supremacy. as Deku proceeded to revive them, and that's when he became the actual god among gods. Not that I think that that would ever happen. Swear, the things I do in my what ifs, I'm gonna get smited down. Hell, God's gonna send me to hell immediately when he finds out about these. Nah, the moment I get into heaven, straight to hell. Why? Because of the disrespectful shit you said about me and your what ifs. Straight to hell. Dead. Suffering in hell. I'm actually the type of person that if I get sent to hell, I'm going to fight my way back to heaven. Anyways, yeah, at the end of it, Deku, this is his armor. Legitimately. This is his armor. And he's able to summon it. Like, this is his king's armor. If he's treating you, like, this is what he'd wear. And, like, this man is treating you lightly. Real lightly. And this was what he was wearing when he fought God. So, he was taking him real lightly. To the point where he didn't want to kill the boy. Like, if he doesn't want to kill you and he's taking you real lightly, he'll wear that. Or, this man might as well not even wear any armor. Because when he's like legitimately taking you seriously, this man will bring you to create a whole plane of existence and bring you to it and take his actual form, which is infinite, and start pummeling the living fuck out of you with no remorse whatsoever. That's how bad it is. As Deku proceeded to go, as Deku thinks it was done after causing a rampage and destroying the world of all the constellations and the people they watch and stuff like that, as Deku took their knowledge and many more, as Deku said, alright, that's done. As Deku proceeded to legitimately break a hole into space, time, reality, and existence. As immediately what he sees is a portal. As he makes a portal to the My Heroverse. As Deku, he looks like this, actually. Because for the remainder of the time, like, this all happened from the age of 18 to 20. Happened in 2 years. But to Deku, it was more of eternities. Because Deku, he doesn't know what time is. He's relegated to time and space. To Deku, he's so far gone that time doesn't even apply to him, nor does space. No matter how strong your space and time manipulation is, it won't even get into contact with Deku. As a matter of fact, space itself is fearful of Deku. To the point when Deku was punching space, space was actually backing away as far as it can, because Deku is now the embodiment of space, but he's also the embodiment of something that he has created himself over time. He is the embodiment of fear, destruction, calamity, and many more. This man was the embodiment of infinity to begin with, but he legitimately killed infinity itself. So to actually be the embodiment of infinity and kill the one that gave you your powers is kind of bad, but also rebellious, which I love. I swear I love making this right now. As Deku proceeds to just step into the portal, and Deku finds himself in the middle of a battlefield. As everybody sees this and they're like, what the hell, who's that? As they don't know who it is. As Deku, he sees that he's in the middle of a battlefield as he proceeds to run and be like, and Izuku's really annoyed by this, as you can see in the face. He looks like this. He's really annoyed as he proceeds to go and beat the living crap out of, well, those guys, out of the enemy. Like, he legitimately beats the living crap out of them. They tried nuking him too, but Deku caught the nuke. As a matter of fact, the nuke didn't even leave where it was. It actually exploded there. As Deku proceeded to legitimately break every bone in the enemy, killing them and stuff like that. As Deku said, my work here is done. As Deku's walking back with his hands all bloody and stuff like that, as basically the army men said, who are you? As Deku says, Izuku Midoriya. As all of their eyes widen as they said, what? You came back? As Deku says, yes, is there a problem? As they're shocked, because how was he able to come back to Earth from space? Because they know about Izuku. They're kind of fearful. As basically, Deku says, bring me to your general now. As they take Deku to the general, and the general was being real cocky and stuff like that, saying, who is this nobody and shit like that. As Deku said his name, and the general was fearful. Real fearful. Because the general was actually one of the army men that worked with Deku. As Deku said, Izuku, sorry, my apologies for my rudeness. As Deku says, yeah, whatever. Just get me a way to get back to Japan. As they said, yes, sir. As they got him a way to get back to Japan, they legitimately got him a private jet. They wanted to give him a helicopter, but Deku said, just give me a jet. As Deku, he got in a jet. As Deku, he went to Japan, but he didn't land near he wanted to. He got to Tokyo, which really pissed him off. Because he wanted to go see his mom after so long. But the concept of time and space, like I said, doesn't work on Deku. As Deku, he's in Tokyo now. He's in Tokyo and he senses, well, hostility. Cause he doesn't know why, but he looks and he hears them, and the thing is he's sent by them. As Deku checks where he is and he sees that he's near a warehouse and he's really pissed by this. As Deku says, if they're here, that means that they're doing something bad or trying to bribe somebody, possibly raping somebody. As Deku, he goes and he proceeds to punch the living crap out of everybody in that warehouse, creating even more destruction than that should be done. Deku is the walking, breathing embodiment of Black Air Force energy if it was a person. Or is it just me with the thoughts of Black Air Force energy shit? Yeah, it's probably me. Yeah. My mind is the living embodiment of Black Air Force energy. Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah. As basically Deku spreads chaos to that whole area. Actually, anything in a 1 mile radius of that area became a zone of destruction and horror. Cause not only did Deku just destroy that warehouse and stuff like that, he destroyed buildings and stuff like that. As Deku, when he's finished, the only person there is her. I think she's from a manga. I swear I seen her from a manga. Either a Mohan or some shit like that. Like, I saw her. I remember seeing her somewhere. But my ass cannot remember. Like, legitimately, my ass cannot remember. And I was like the first time I saw this picture, I was like, shit, she looking real familiar. But I can't remember where, though. As Deku, he saves her. As what should her name be? Bloom. Her name is Bloom. Nah, Summer. Yeah, Summer seems appropriate. Why? Because of those shiny things, those shiny stars, and, well, for some reason, I get white Air Force energy from her. Yes, there's Black Air Force and white Air Force energy now. White Air Force energy is just plain kindness. But we know damn well that there is no such thing as good as in this world. Alrighty then. So, yeah. Deku saves her. He sees through her memories to see where she lives, and he sees that, well, she's rich, but he doesn't really care about that and stuff like that. So Deku drops her off at her house, and he leaves a letter saying, I hope you're fine, I healed you and shit like that. If you want to say thank you, just come find me and say hi. Or just say thanks. Name's Izuku Midoriya. As he didn't even leave a number or anything like that and shit like that. So she woke up the next day and she read the note and she was kind of thankful. As she said to herself, I will find him and I'll express my gratitude. And shit like that. Because she noticed that this man is, whoa. He doesn't care about anything. As Deku, he actually wants to live in peace after all the destruction and chaos he's caused in the realm of gods. As a matter of fact, Deku has a lot of his clones legitimately keeping order inside of existence right now. Like the existence of the My Hero, it's being controlled by the main protagonist. As Deku, he proceeds to, I think an hour passed by now. Yeah, an hour passed. Doesn't matter. As Deku proceeds to go back to where he lives. I think it was in Tokyo, right? Yeah, it was somewhere in Tokyo. Hold on. Yeah, he lives in Musutafa, Japan. Alright. As Deku proceeds to go to Musutafa, Japan, where he finds where Inko is, and he knocks on the door. Inko sees this person in front of her, and she says, may I help you, sir? As Deku says, hey, mom. As Inko says, what do you mean? My son is dead. As Izuku says, who told you I was dead? As Inko said, on the news it said that he was missing. As Deku says, Mom, it's me, calm down. As Inko said, well then if you're my son, say something only he would know. As Deku said, when I was younger, I was claimed to be quirkless and I was a living prodigy. As Inko, her eyes widen as she cries even more and she hugs him and says, Izuku, where were you? As Deku says, I can't tell you that. It's kind of, well, not really dangerous. He just doesn't feel like telling her. As Inko says, okay. Because he doesn't want to worry Inko. Because Inko, like, let's be real here. Let us be real here. Name one mom in anime that has went through. I'm joking. There are practically many moms that have went through more than Inko. But still, in the whole My Hero verse, I think Inko went through the most. Like, don't talk about like the water heroes and shit like that, because we don't know much about them, so we can't really say shit. But they were genuinely a happy family, so yeah. I wasn't talking about like heroes in general or anyone in My Hero, because if it was like anyone in My Hero, I'd say the one that probably went through worse is probably Hawks and Dobby and Todoroki. So yeah, and Deku as well. So yeah, so Inko went inside and said, "Do you want something to eat?" Deku said, "No, I can cook." As Inko says, "All right," as she kind of got down, as Deku saw it, he said, "Fine, you can cook." As basically she does that, and basically at this time UA is a didn't start. It started already. UA started. Now the thing with like the whole like League of Villains and stuff happening, it happens. Yeah, USJ happens already. Um. So yeah. So the USJ happens as basically Deku. He starts training his life energy and just playing around with it, whilst also gaining the fear of space again, which Deku reassures space itself that it doesn't have to worry, he's not going to destroy it like he did just to get back. Because space said okay, well, not said okay, but he got a gut feeling that if space were a person, it would have said okay and gone back to normal. So, yeah. So Inko made Deku Katsudon and Deku ate. He ate it and it tasted good. He said thanks to Inko is he went to take a shower because before this man's Deku had to cause a crime scene, had blood over his body. So, yeah. So Deku takes a shower and shit like that, cleans himself up, and basically Deku says, now then, what do I do? Deku looks at the house and says, guess upgrade the house, I guess. As he upgrades the house, high tech, while Inko is sleeping. He upgrades the whole house, high tech. As Inko wakes up the next day, she says, what is this? As Deku says, I modified the whole house. As Inko says, but the house practically has infinite space. As Deku says, yeah, I know. As Inko, she's kind of nervous to ask how he got this ability, so she ignores it and says, okay. As she asked for a tour, and Deku gave her a tour. As, well, yeah. So basically, over this week, Deku has been training and stuff like that. Whatsoever. In May, she run May. No, not May. Summer. Yeah, her name's Summer. Summer. She runs a company and shit like that. Like I swear, she seemed real familiar. I know I didn't read the manga, but I remember seeing her face. I remember seeing her face somewhere. I remember seeing her somewhere. I don't remember where, but I remember seeing her. I remember her existence. I know of her existence. My God, I swear. It's probably because she wasn't that important, but I know she was in some sort of romance manga. fucking knew it, bro. Shit, shit. Fucking slow ass me, Summer, yeah. So yeah, Summer runs a company while also looking for Deku. And it's basically over time, like Deku, it's been 2 months now, and Deku's just walking around until Deku hears a voice that says, uh, are you Izuku Midoriya? As Deku turns around to see May, as Deku says, yes, why is it? As May proceeds to hug him, and she says, thank you. As Deku says, huh? As he looks down and takes a closer look at May, and he says, oh, now I remember you. You're the girl I saved. As she said, yeah. As basically she proceeds to kiss Deku, as Deku, he doesn't feel any love as he pushes her away as she asks why, as Deku explains that, well, he doesn't have any romantic feelings towards her yet. So as May says, okay, she says she'll do her best to sway him. Now, she legit does her best. She does do her best and stuff like that. And so, yeah. So, for a whole month straight, she succeeds in swaying him and they start dating. Haven't done anything like sexual intercourse and stuff like that. No, just kissing, cuddling, and stuff like that. Deku's usually there, like visits the company and shit like that. Well, Deku only visited it once, and the first time he was really disrespected, as he proceeded to release some Black Air Force energy onto the company. Yeah, wonderful Black Air Force energy. Like I said, he proceeded to release some Black Air Force energy on the company, which means the one that disrespected him, he slapped the living fuck out of. Slapped him straight into a wall, thinking Sun thought he could use his quirk to fight Deku because he had a strength enhancement quirk, but Deku punched his hand, and you know the rest. Arm broke. Arm broke. Hospitalized. So, yeah, that's kind of how it happens. So, yeah. So Deku, he proceeds to continue with his work and stuff like that, not fearful of anything. My throat hurts, but it's only minor. And basically, May says, I got invited to watch something. As Deku says, what is it? She says, the UA Sports Festival. As Deku says, sure, whatever. As she said, yay. As she knows that if Deku were to join the UA Sports Festival, he'd probably kill everybody there. Not kill, but severely, well, he'd beat them to a pulp if they keep resisting after they lost. As, you know, they go to the UA Sports Festival and stuff like that, as they ask who this is, as one, like, there were a lot of rich people, and one of them said, probably one of his lackeys, her lackeys, is, she says, no, this is my boyfriend, as they looked at him, and one of them looked at Deku with jealousy and rage, as they said, no, she's supposed to be mine, as he proceeds to try to fight Deku, but Deku, just like the other guy, sends him into a wall, but this time, making sure to break bones. As they're all shocked and stuff like that, ask him his quirk, Deku said he is quirkless. Which they thought he was lying, and they said, fine, keep your secrets, but Deku was legitimately quirkless. So Deku, he proceeds to go. And he just trains. He just trains and trains and... No, not trains, sorry. He goes, yeah, he trains for a little bit, because, well, space-time manipulation and able to create dimensions. So, yeah. And then the UA Sports Festival starts. Deku ate. He ate a lot of food. May was feeding him and stuff like that, and most of the couples thought it was cute and shit like that, because Deku fed her as well. Not aggressively. So, yeah. So, like, the two of them are opposites. Like the saying goes, opposites attract. She's nice and sweet. Deku, he's more of the irritated and mean side, so he tends to have an aggressive act towards people that piss him off. But normally, Deku's really calm, actually. He's really, really calm. Unless you, like, try to fight him or do anything like that, he's really calm. Like, the only reason he got mad to begin with was because of the whole infinite thing. So, yeah. Deku's strong physically and mentally, and psychopathically. So he's not really worried about that. So, yeah. Deku, he proceeds to, well, watch it and stuff like that. As Deku sees Bakugo and he scoffs and stuff like that. And Summer says, do you know him or her? Because it was during the Bakugo and, Uraraka fight. As Deku says, yeah, that asshole was an acquaintance from my childhood. As she says, did he do something? As she says, don't worry about it, babe. As basically she says, okay, stuttering because she's worried. Because she thinks that, well, he's scared or something like that. Well, not scared, but she's just worried for his well-being. As, ever since the UA sport, ever since that fight, she's been bugging him until Deku says, fine. As she explained and stuff like that. As, yeah, that happens. As Mei says, well, I'll be joining the school anyways next year. As Deku says, huh? As she says, yeah, I'll be joining the school next year. As Deku says, sure, okie dokie then. And basically, they watch the full UA Sports Festival. As basically, it's all over. As basically, they invite the rich people to say their congrats and stuff like that. But Deku, he got up immediately. Like, Mei got up to go down there. They saw Deku get up, but Deku left because, well, he didn't really care about them. As Mei got down, as they were asking where Izuku is, and Mei says Izuku didn't want to come because he found this boring. Hold on. Yeah, so he found it boring and useless. As Bakugo says, if he was that scared to meet number one hero, the future number one hero, he could have just said so. Hold on. And it's basically Deku, he proceeds to blitz space and time and appears right in front of Bakugo as Mei says, Izuku, what are you doing here? No, she says, babe, yeah. Well, she says Izuku is Bakugo says, what, Deku? As Deku stares Bakugo right in the eyes and he says, did you know that if I wanted to kill you, I could have killed you a long time ago? The moment I stepped foot into this planet, this was already my territory. My place, my zone. If I wanted to, I could kill everybody on this planet, including the planet itself. As Bakugo says, yeah, right, you loser. As basically Deku proceeds to punch the living crap out of Bakugo, sending him flying. As All Might and the heroes are thinking he's a villain. As they proceed to jump into action, thinking that they were going to do something. As Mei says, wait, stop! As the hero said, as All Might says, not now, young lady, this villain is attacking a UA student. As they proceed to go. 20 minutes later, Deku is holding All Might by the hair and dragging him, same with Endeavor, whilst all the other heroes, all other top 10 heroes are just laying there as everybody's shocked to see that there's somebody this strong beating the living crap out of every one of them. Like, take in mind, all of them are all adults, but like, yeah. But still, when Deku and Summer join, they're all gonna be like 22 years old. So the fact that Deku legitimately beat the living crap at All Might was kind of fearful of Nezu's. Deku says, I'm leaving, this is boring. As Bakugo finally woke up and he says, like hell you are, nerd! As he proceeds to go to Deku to explode him. And Deku reaches out on purpose, and Bakugo does the same thing that Deku does when he throws the punch in the first test, the whole, Heroes vs. Villains test, and he explodes Deku's back. As Deku proceeds to turn around and grab Bakugo by the head and slams him into the floor, as then he proceeds to blitz around the whole arena, slams his head into one point of the wall as he proceeds to drag Bakugo, just making the full circle of the arena again, as Deku picks Bakugo up, proceeds to slam him on the floor again, lifts him up, slams him on the floor. Each step he takes forward to Mei, Summer, he slams his head onto the floor until Bakugo is just a bloody mess. He's just a bloody mess with a cracked skull, many broken bones. As Mitsuki's watching this, she's crying because she thinks her baby boy is dead. Sure, she may be like harsh to him, but still she does it to, well, protect him, to make him feel stronger. So seeing this, she thought it was a villain and stuff like that, but she heard Izuku, and she was wondering why Izuku did that. Because she didn't know about Bakugo bullying Izuku or anything like that, no. As Deku says, God damn it, why is everybody so fucking weak? As Summer proceeds to say, it's not that they're weak, you're just too strong. As Deku says, yeah, whatever. As Deku proceeds to snap his fingers and heals Bakugo. Bakugo is still knocked the fuck out with all the other top 10 heroes. As Deku says, I'm leaving. I'll see you later, May. As May says, okay. As niggas like Todoroki are shocked and pissed because he's thinking to himself, I'm supposed to be the strongest, god damn it. As shit like that, as Deku proceeds to leave. As Deku, on his way out, he's stopped by some heroes. As they said, no, stop right there, villain. As Deku grabs their heads, slams them, as he says, for the last time, if I was a villain, I would have killed everybody on this useless, pathetic planet to begin with. As some heroes try to legitimately try to stop him, but Deku, he got pissed by this. Really pissed, in fact, that he started seeping bloodlust. As his bloodlust, even though it was a little bit like a layer of it on him, like to him, it's just a skin, like a like protective layer, like a layer, like if you, like it's kind of like a skin tight layer, but not tight. It's just a skin layer, just a layer that's like just over the skin. As to them, it's just it's just like regular bloodlust, like you'd see, like kind of like Stain's bloodlust, even though it's a layer for Deku. So they're kind of fearful and they actually start pissing themselves. As Midnight comes out trying to use her quirk and stuff like that, but it doesn't work. As a matter of fact, Deku inhales it so much that he actually throws it back at her after blowing as she gets knocked out. As Deku proceeds to dip, as he says, God damn it, they're annoying. As Deku goes home. As Inko saw what happened, and she says, God, as she asks Izuku, was that for? And Deku says, yeah, you know what happened and why I did that. She says, okay, you're right. As Mitsuki comes barging at Inko's door and shit like that, she starts complaining when she gets inside until she gets smacked by Deku as she starts to attack Deku, but Deku catches her hand and she's just crying and stuff like that in Deku's arms. She says, why would you do that? He didn't do anything to you. He was your best friend. As Inko got behind Mitsuki and tapped her shoulder and says, actually, it's actually... the truth is much different than you actually think. As they explain what happened, and Mitsuki's surprised, and as she says, why did you tell me, Inko? As Inko explained that Deku didn't want her to tell Mitsuki for Bakugo's sake. As she says, fine. As she apologizes, I apologizes to Izuku for her outburst, and yeah. So that's kind of how it worked. So Deku, he goes to, because he's living with Mei now. He's living with Mei now, but Inko has a house and stuff like that. So yeah, Inko's living the life. She's living good and stuff like that. So yeah, she doesn't have to worry about everything. Inko got her old appearance back and shit like that, and she's kind of immortal thanks to Zuko. And it's basically Mei. She's partially immortal. She's not fully immortal, cause well, no, yeah, she's immortal, cause Deku. Yeah, she's fully immortal, cause Deku sends that. Well, she has no intent, no nothing towards her. So Deku made her immortal and stuff like that. And basically, yeah, that's where I'm going to be leaving it off for part 1. I know there was a lot of ups and downs, twists, left and rights. Yeah, you probably weren't even able to keep track of what happened. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been part 1 of Infinite Potential. And yeah, I know you guys are thinking, yo, what if Deku married Squirrel Girl and shit like that? Yeah, I'm gonna be doing it. I'm gonna be doing it tomorrow, so yeah, don't worry. And you may be wondering, why didn't I make the video yesterday or the day before? Well, for one simple reason. I had my regions today. Yeah, I had my, I think geometry. I think it was algebra. Yeah, I had algebra. Yeah, and it wasn't like regular ninth grade algebra. Nah, it was 10th grade algebra. Yeah, I'm in ninth grade and have 10th grade algebra. Yeah, I know I'm 15 in ninth grade. You may be thinking, oh, you got left back. No, it's just that like I skipped a grade. So, like I didn't skip any of the major grades like 1 to like 9. No, I just skipped kindergarten all the way to first grade. So, yeah, that's kind of how it worked. So, yeah, and my algebra regents, I don't know if I did good or not and stuff like that. Quite honestly, I feel like I failed. But hey, that's norm for me. I feel like a failure every day. Um, but hey, I feel less of a failure when I actually try to do something. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. Over the summer, I'm probably gonna start a merch store, but I highly doubt that I'll actually like proceed to actually like do it fully. I don't know if it'll actually work. Cause I don't know, cause I'll probably like, cause I have like three things in mind: start an online business, merch store, or I'll just go work at McDonald's or Burger King. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, but I'll try to work on the online business or merch store. Uh, so yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Lotus with us with part one of Infinite Potential, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So, this has been Lotus What Ifs out by my little stars.